Chad. Started filming as a freshman at St. John's. In high school, I just played football. I didn't really know what opportunities there were with film. And when I went to St. John's, I wanted to be part of the football program, and they said, you can film. So I showed up on the first day, and Chad was there, and I thought he was crazy, to be honest. And I still kind of think he is. Yeah. But immediately, I knew this was going to be a very unique opportunity and a unique experience. And then 4 years later, Anthony and I, Anthony was another kid my age, we got to be 4 years of filmers. We got to go to the NFL Players Association Collegiate Bowl 2 years in a row to film practices there, and I had an absolute blast with it.
I started off, when I went to college, I started off as a freshman. I didn't do anything with football. I didn't do anything with sports. I was just a sport management major, and I had met some people in my sport management classes that did football, worked in recruiting, video, and I was pretty much like, any way to get involved in sports, I'm going to go and do. So I started off as an undergraduate there. My sophomore, junior, and senior year, I graduated in May of 25. So only a whole year removed from graduation. And I filmed for 3 years, helped out recruiting, and we had, my old boss is now at Clemson, so I learned from him. And when the opportunity came that he had left, and then we hired one other guy, and he had left as well, I was like, I'm going to take the job and just try to imitate what he did, kind of how he ran stuff, and try to bring it back to how he did it. And that's kind of my journey to where we are today.
I'm one of those guys that has never played football. Football wasn't my sport. I loved hockey. I grew up playing hockey, all those things. But I sort of got roped into it being a tech guy when technology was really starting to get integrated into football. And so, there's only so long that you can do favors for the head coach before he kind of just keeps dragging you in, and all of a sudden you're there, and 20 years later you're still there. Two formative things for me were, number one, Chad. The way I remember the story is just a little bit different. My head coach called me. He's like, there's this guy out here. His name's Chad. Do you know him? Like, he just showed up. And I mean, if you know Chad, this probably makes sense, right? Like, he just showed up and he said he's here for like a meeting to like sell you on software. And I'm like, yeah, well, I haven't looked into any other software. All I got is this Apex. You won't buy me anything else. And, but I was like, you know what? I'll go over and chat with him, and we'll see what happens. And it's grown from there. And like Chad said, he insulted my film, and so did others. Some of the others that were formative for me are a couple of the CFL guys that were around back then as well, Matt and Rico. I think it was actually Ross, though, from Calgary, who, graded me on being the worst film in USports that year. I was like, what? What do you guys actually want? And so that set me on a quest to like figure this thing out. What is a video coordinator actually supposed to do? Because I'm like, I'm not doing crap work. If I'm doing this, it's going to be as good as I can make it. And that's sort of driven me from here. And where we're at now, Matt Kerry's been with me for quite some time. I think 12, 13 seasons. And that's really the 1-2 punch. Him and I can show up on game day, not even talk to each other, and just get her done. And we've got a great group of students as well, and we really enjoy working with them. So that's a little bit of my story. We do play Canada football, Canadian football, a little different than most of you, but it's all really the same when it comes down to it.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so me and Chad go way back. One of my finest memories with him, we were at the CFL Combine, and he graciously let me stay in his hotel room because you know, Canada, driving to Toronto is a poop show. Anyways, picked me up, and then he realized he lost his passport, and he's like, okay, we're going to the U.S. Embassy in Toronto. And I just got my license. He's like, here, take the rental. Just wait out front, I'll be right back. Well, things don't take 5 minutes in Toronto. Here I am sitting in this car for an hour waiting for this guy. And anyways, I was about to get a ticket, and I was like, ah, screw it, it's not my car, it's Chad's. But, you know, I was trying to be his buddy. So here I went in the square for an hour, the same square, because I didn't want to get lost. But just to show you how much of a friend he is. But I'll echo what Jimmy said. You know, we're all here for one reason, and that's because we have a passion for football video. So we're all here, we want to get better, but you know, for the next generation and generations continuing, you know, just keep that passion going, keep it alive, and you know, learn as much as we can, but also give back to the next generation. Because let's keep this thing going. So appreciate you all.
It's an honor to accept this award. I work for a great organization that lets me do my job for this now 16 years. I couldn't do it without people like Chad and DB Sport who've kept us trained and shown us the right way to do things. And also, I couldn't do it without great people. Matt Kerry worked for me for a few years. He's now with Laurier, and he does come help me on game days. Great people like Matt really helped me get my job done and our job for our team. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just speak a little bit about my background. So I'm only 22 years old. I'm about to graduate in May. I'm the video coordinator for John Carroll. So I'll start with an email I sent my freshman year, senior year of high school, going to my freshman year. I asked the coach, like, hey, you guys need any help? Like, I'm willing to help. And he goes, yeah, you'll start video. Maybe you'll transition to a student coach outside linebackers. Well, that coach left, and now I became the video coordinator after one meeting because someone says, oh, who does video? I was the only video guy sitting in the room. They pointed towards me. And that was my life for 3 years now. So it's been a really cool honor. And one thing that Coach B, he's now at Bucknell, always told us was tough people win. No matter what happens in life, like video being maybe failing my accounting 202 test, coach texted me right after, be like, you at practice yet? Well, I have to figure out this test score real quick, but I'll be at practice no matter what. So yeah, tough people win, and like just being persevering and being only 22 years old, being a video coordinator is a really great experience.
Up here, accept this. Been doing this last 16 years. Been a blast and ride. Ultimately, you know, not just my show, my assistant, my students, we're a team. So this is for all of us. So appreciate it.
Well, first of all, I obviously thank you for all you've done for us so far in the program. He's done cameras, projectors, whether it's screens, advice just for, on the road trip with Catapult. A lot of questions I had, I reached out to him. Yeah, I think the thing they're doing with this is important. It shows to our athletes that, they put in the time and watching the film. It doesn't only translate to the field success, but to recognize them putting in the hours on their own whether it's a video room or watching it on their phone on their own, or just really what it takes to be successful and be able to see what's going on before the play actually happens. Yeah, I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone, and obviously this is growing just as much as it can, so appreciate it. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Chad. Honestly, I had no idea I'd be here like 2 years ago. It was my first year filming for anything involved in football because all my friends were on the field and I just felt alone in the sidelines, so I figured I'd get involved, and well, I met Chad and he said I did very good at the job and kind of put me on the spot because I had no idea I'd be anywhere with this, and I really just gotta say thank you for bringing me along.
Chad, I really appreciate the recognition, and it was a very big surprise, to be very honest with you. I've been out, out of football for probably 15 years now. And, you know, as I look back, it's, you know, you realize how much of a blessing it was to have the opportunity. I worked in 3 different leagues, got to travel all over the world and meet outstanding people everywhere I went, and it was so much fun to do in my younger years. But I understand the dedication and hard work that everybody in this room does, and it is it's something you'll be able to carry for the rest of your life. Whether you stay in football or you go to another career, you'll understand how, first of all, how to treat people, because as we all know, the video guys at the end of the day don't get much recognition. They get, you know, fussed at or yelled at when they make a mistake. And, you know, what this job taught me through all my years is how to treat people, and the most important thing is to, you know, have a team concept and be able to work together. But my kind of story is very out of the ordinary. When the team moved to Baltimore, I was fresh out of college, and I sent a to whom it may concern letter to the Baltimore Stallions. Well, some miracle, my resume got through to the PR director at the time. They didn't have any interns, so he said, why don't you come in and you can help me in PR, you can do our help with the media guide and stuff. Well, probably about 3 weeks later, the coaches came down, the one coach who was in charge of video. He says, hey, I need to take your interns to training camp because we don't have anybody to film practice. They had hired a professional company to do the games, but we don't have anybody to shoot practice. So he said, because I was wearing a suit and tie every day, and he says, hey, you know, you want to go wear shorts and a t-shirt, you want to go out to the field, you know, you want to go out and be with the team. I said, all right, I'll try it. So 6 of us went out first day of training camp. They handed us a old, you know, Panasonic SVHS camera and said, all right, you guys go up on that lift and, you know, film whatever you can. And basically we had more of the sky than the ground. We didn't know what we were doing. So they saw this and they said, all right, well, you know, we'll send the coach up with you next time and he can explain to you what to do. So long story short, we get through training camp. Nobody was getting paid. It was 100 degrees every day, and I was the lone survivor out of the 6 interns. So they said, all right, well, how about this? We'll pay you $7 an hour, and you get to travel with the team. So I said, all right, well, I'll try it out. So long story short, you know, my career lasted for 16 years. So I had the opportunity to work with NFL Europe in the off season, and it was in Barcelona, which was the best job you could ask for you know, a person in their early 20s, right on the beach. It was a lot of fun, 3 months a year on the beach in Barcelona with a great staff. And when the team folded in Baltimore and moved to Montreal, I met my favorite French man, Mr. Rigo Marotti, and we worked together to basically, we were intercutting the film by hand. We would have 2 SVHS decks, and we'd film it all, and he would go one by one. So, and then we'd stay up all night and take everything to the airport. So I had to get on that first day. So I am envious of the way technology has progressed in this business. I got to see it a little bit in my tail end time with the Saints, but now everything's digital, and back then it was all SVHS, and when I got to the Saints, it was Betamax, and then we finally started to go to digital. But the technology today is incredible. I just really appreciate the honor, and I wish you guys the best, and you guys are doing a great job, so appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chad. Appreciate those kind words. Delaney, you're not the only one that's nervous as hell. I'm a behind the camera guy. I don't like this in the front of it, but you know, to get an award like this, it takes other people in your life, and I'd like to thank right now the late Dan Reeves. He hired me in Denver, and I'll always be in debt to Dan. Kent Erickson hired me at the Broncos, and he took a chance on me, and you know, really that chance he took changed my life. I was able to travel to places I never, ever imagined that I would ever see. Like, we played in Japan, we were in Barcelona, Australia, Germany, and probably would have never had that opportunity if I wouldn't have been hired by the league. But I want to thank, first of all, I want to recognize everybody that got awards tonight. Chad does a phenomenal job, you know, recognizing people that usually don't get a lot of attention. And as a number 2 guy in the league, who's never a director, you know, you always kind of get the crappy jobs, and you're always, you know, you got to run to the airport or whatever back in the analog days, and you're shooting the end zone for the most part. And let me tell you, some of these end zone locations over 3 decades have been something. And let me just tell you a little story about one end zone location I was at. And we, back then, all the international games were played in preseason. They were not regular season games. So Denver went to Mexico City, and we played the Dolphins. And I never saw a stadium the size of the stadium in Mexico City. I mean, it was enormous. And it seemed like it took me forever to get to the end zone location. And when I finally got there, I kind of looked behind me, and there was probably 50 rows of seats behind me still. But there was this chain link fence that was like planted in the upper level that went the entire circle of the stadium. And I've never seen this in any stadium, and I'm like, what in the world is a chain link fence doing in here to separate fans? And so the game's going along, and let me back up a little bit. I get to the location, and there's this platform that overhangs the upper deck. You got to kind of squeeze through the railing to get onto the platform, and below you is 100 feet of open space. Well, this platform in Mexico City, OSHA was not involved in building this thing. There was no side rail, no front rail. I mean, it was just a rickety platform that if you stepped on it wrong, you know, it popped, the metal popped on it. I'm sure you guys have all kind of seen something like that, your experiences. But I was shooting next to Bob Hack for the Dolphins, and I turned to Bob Hack and I told him, I said, Bob, listen, if I fall off this thing, will you please make sure my wife at least owns half of the Broncos? And so he's like, yeah, I'll do that for you, but only if you do the same for me. So the game goes along. We're getting somewhat comfortable with this platform. And I'm telling you, it was a nightmare. And so the Broncos are in the red zone. They're right underneath us. Elway drops back, throws a pass to a wide open running back in the end zone. I mean, this guy's wide open. Nobody covered him. He drops the ball. And this crowd in Mexico City goes berserk. They start throwing shit all over the field. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It was like bottles, popcorn, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, they had to stop the game to clean the end zone up. And so, you know, Bob and I are kind of laughing at this whole thing, and all of a sudden I feel something hit me square in the back. And it's like one of those things where somebody comes up and slaps you in the back and you're not expecting it and you're like, ugh. So, you know, that's what it was, and my first inclination was, well, like some idiot just threw a bottle at me. And so I didn't want to acknowledge, you know, that they hit the target. And so I waited a couple of plays, and all of a sudden I looked down between my legs, and there's a wrench about this long that somebody threw at me. I don't know if they were trying to get it onto the field or what, but I was thinking, like, man, if that wrench would have just been 6 inches higher, she would have been the new owner of the Broncos. So, you know, you didn't get the greatest locations, but if you go to Mexico City, make sure OSHA's involved if you got the game there. But I really want to thank Chad. You know, 6 months ago, if you would have said that I'd be sitting here talking in front of the Football Film Federation, I probably would have said, what the hell is the Football Film Federation? And are you sure you got the right guy here? So anyway, Chad recognizing number twos and kind of the grinders in the league is phenomenal, because I never, ever thought that I would ever be recognized for my work. And I took a lot of pride in my job. And I can honestly say, 28 years, I never called in sick once. And in those old analog days, you know, it was long. You know, it was 14-hour days, 7 days a week. A lot of you guys know, 8 months out of the year. And so I just want to congratulate everybody that got awards and give a big thanks to Jeff, my colleague, and Chad, thank you, and the foundation or the Federation Committee. Thank you so much.